Hello everyone. Well, the Bombers have had a good win earlier today against Collingwood in a VFL practice match down at the Hangar. This is a bit more significant than it otherwise would have been due to the fact that the senior team isn't playing and otherwise would have been playing due to the rescheduled Gold Coast game, which we've all heard of by now. I've done enough videos on that and will not be doing any more, that's for sure.
I'm sick of it.
But a lot of the talk earlier today of those who were down at the Hangar watching the game, such as Scooter McNeese, Don's Nation, Rick Edwards, if you follow them on Twitter, you can give them a follow, was that particularly a lot of our younger draftees have played pretty well.
It's promising.
Saad El Hali, Arthur Day Wicks, Nguyen, Clark, but particularly Zak Johnson. Now, Zak Johnson is probably
being the 199th draft pick.
The interesting one of this lot, because he was picked up at number 70 in the draft, but he was talked about as being a bit of a steal. Now, you hear that quite a bit. Everyone likes to think that their last draftee or one of the later picks in the draft is a steal, and every now and then you get those picks in the 50s and 60s that do come good. But he is the youngest person that we picked up. He's the youngest person on our list, and he has a reputation of being a very, very skillful ball user on both sides of the body. He's got very good vision, decision making, really high footy IQ, hits his targets, all that sort of thing. The query on him was on the defensive side of his game, and he apparently tore it up today and had probably over 20 possessions at half time. And who knows, could he be a surprise player that makes debuts this year at some point? We'll see. I don't know about that. He's still very, very young, but he played fantastically well today by all reports, and that's very, very exciting. Unfortunately, it looks like Peter Wright may have suffered a leg injury in the match. He was carried off. We're not quite sure any more information than that, but he was carried off with a leg injury. Obviously, the club will update that during the week, so that's unfortunate for Peter. I mean, look, he was on the outside anyway. I don't think he would have been selected this week. And look, injuries aside, I don't really think he's going to be in Brad Scott's plans much this year. But it is unfortunate for him to, get injured. That's not good. You don't want to see that with anyone. And, hopefully he's not in too bad a shape, because we want him fit and firing and at least pressing for selection to put some pressure on the senior team if he is indeed not in there. But it looks like he may have injured himself, which is unfortunate. If you like this channel, please consider subscribing and giving this video a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm when you do that. About 80% of the people watching are not subscribed. It would help me out quite a lot, allowing to grow the channel and produce more and better content. So just getting back to Zak Johnson, one of the reasons he may have been such a low pick in the draft in the first place was because he did have a shoulder injury that cut his season short, which prevented him from testing at the state draft combine. So that might have pushed his prospects down a little bit and meant that he didn't get picked up till a bit later, but we were able to pick him up at pick 70. The recruiters all say the same thing about him, that he's capable of using his speed to break the lines. He can carve up the opposition with his ball use, evade tacklers around the contest, all those sort of things. You can check out some of his highlights and some of the other YouTube videos that show him. He's a really, really good player. So this is, particularly exciting, and let's hope it's a sign of things to come. So we led all day in the match. We led 17-7 at quarter time. We led 37-31 at half time. 59-50 at three-quarter time, and we finished up with a 35-point win, 96-61. So a lot of these boys would have been very keen to impress, of course, with round one around the corner next week. I'm sure that won't be finalised till midweek, and Brad Scott would have been taking a very, very close look at the match. But yeah, the form of Zak Johnson is very, very exciting. If we can find a steal in the draft, that will be very, very, very good for us. There's still some doubt over the top 10 picks that we had over, Perkins and Cox and Reed a few years ago. So obviously, if you can get a bit of a bonus player from the lower reaches of the draft, that would obviously be absolutely fantastic, especially when it looks like Isaac Kako is going to be a bit of a steal for us. I think that's all pretty pleasing. Tom Edwards also kicked a couple of goals down there today. It was a bit windy down there, apparently. But all in up, 5-goal win over the Pies. And that leads us into the game against the Hawks on the weekend. The Hawks had a big win over the Swans last night. You would have seen it, no doubt, and they look like they're the real deal. It's always difficult to judge from one game. You can never read too much into it. Will Day looked absolutely fantastic. Looks like he picked up 3 Brownlow votes in that match. Warple got injured, so we'll see how that goes, whether he will be available to play against us. He got a bit of a nasty injury. Warple was tackled by Brodie Grundy in the second quarter, and his ankle sort of was caught under him. So normally your ankle takes, I think, more than a week. You'll be limping on that for a few days. So he might be out, so that might help us a little bit. But this will be interesting to see how we go. We're going to be big underdogs in this game due to Hawthorn's fantastic form towards the end of last year and their good win against the Swans last night. But we're definitely a good chance in this game. Look, our pre-season has been pretty flawless. And as I've mentioned in other videos, I think we are very, very much under the radar, and wouldn't it be good to knock the Hawks off? No one's going to be tipping us in this game. But really, if you look at our form in the pre-season matches, I know you can't read too much into them, but it's all we've got to go by. There's nothing to suggest that we won't at least be very competitive, and I would suggest there's a good chance we could ambush them, and I don't think they're going to be expecting Essendon to be perhaps as competitive as the Swans were last night, and they probably think, well, yeah, we beat the Swans by 20 points, we should walk all over Essendon. I don't think it's going to be that simple. I think we're going to be very, very fired up for this game. What's interesting with this game is, will the fact that we haven't played a match yet and Hawthorn have, who will that benefit? I'm not quite sure. There's a school of thought that having a tough match for Hawthorn against the Swans could help them. We haven't played a match yet, but then again, it was a pretty tough match. It got a bit willing at the end there. It was wet and it was tough at the end. They're coming back from a trip on the road for a Friday night game, and Essendon, of course, should be fresh as a daisy. So I think we're actually a bit of a sneaky chance in this game. I'm certainly not writing us off. I don't know whether I'll tip us, but I think we are definitely a bit of a sneaky chance. I think no one is paying attention to us, and I think we're very, very under the radar, as I've mentioned in some previous videos. So I just thought I'd update everybody on the VFL game, a 6-goal win over the Magpies, with Zak Johnson being the breakout star of that particular game. He's been nursing a shoulder injury during the off-season and doing a lot of running drills, so obviously he's over that. So the fact that he's able to, engage in full match play against another opponent is a really, really good sign. And let's hope that he can be an exciting player for us this year, and who knows, maybe break into the senior team. We will see. So how many of you will be going to the Hawthorn game on the weekend? I will be there. I had to go through a lot over the last few days, refunding all my flights and my accommodation and bus transfers and everything for the Gold Coast. I booked it like 6 months ago for the Gold Coast, and I had to refund everything. I had non-refundable accommodation, but they were nice enough to refund it anyway. Non-refundable bus tickets, but they were good enough to refund those as well. I didn't get the flights refunded, but they were able to get a voucher, and I'll probably go up for the later match later in the season, whenever it is held, maybe on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, midweek, we'll see. But are you guys going to go to the Hawthorn game? I'm excited about this. The weather forecast looks pretty good. Should be about 80,000 people there. I'm really looking forward to hoping we can prove a few people wrong. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. I've been very, very happy with the way the pre-season's gone. I think we're under the radar. I think we're probably a little bit better than a lot of people think. And I can't wait to get there and go to the match. It should be very exciting. Footy is back, everyone, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please subscribe to this channel if you'd like. I'd really appreciate it. And as always, go Bombers, and have a great day.